When God covers you. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. When God covers you, God's protection is where you are as a child of God. So whether you are at home when disaster strikes, you're covered. Or whether you are out there when disaster strikes, you're still covered. At this moment in time when the Lord is still busy moving people, it's of no use if I were to look at the people and notice that, well, a lot of people seem to be going to this province, or a lot of people seems to be going to this state. I'm also going to go there. It doesn't work like that. Our protection in God is where we are supposed to be. Now, someone's protection may be in another province, but perhaps where you are, that's where your covering and protection is at. And trying to use human reasoning as far as where to move in terms of should disaster strike or God is moving his people because perhaps something bad is going to happen in this region, or perhaps there's a pattern that is evident that, well, it seems like a lot of God's people seem to be walking into this particular area. Like it's not going to work. Just because God has called his children to a particular region, a city, a province, a state, it does not mean that that state will not be touched. It does not mean that no harm will come in that state. We walk with the promises of Psalms 91, which says, though 1,000 may fall at my side, 10,000 at my right hand, but it will not touch me. You know, Psalm 91 speaks of how harm and disaster will not come near your house. It will not come near your tent. We walk under the protection of Psalms 91. So where we are at, we are not afraid. We are not afraid. Should there be any disaster, we know that we covered. We know that we covered. As believers, all we do is to pray, believe, and trust. And we know that our God will protect us. So it is of no good, it is of no use for one to refuse to grow in God, to refuse to hear from God and decide, well, when people turn left, I'll also turn left. They are going where God says they must go. Our relationship with the Lord will never, ever be overemphasized. As we spend more time with the Lord, he will lead us, he will guide us to where we're supposed to be with the people who are supposed to be around us. That's where our protection is at. It's not a matter of if I'm in this particular state, particular province, there will be extra angels that have been sent in that particular area. Even if the angels are sent there, at the end of the day, like, does the devil know your address? Does the enemy know the address of your spirit? Or are you connected with the Lord? You know, who knows your address between the Lord or the enemy? So in this time, let us agree, and let us agree and be calm, you know, and just allow God's will to play out, and not to work against it, and not to use our own minds, our own reasoning to try and understand the leading of God. Okay? Yeah, so this is what I wanted to share. Like, let us remove the stress and the pressure of God's protection. You know, like, God's protection is going to be in that particular region because most of God's people are moving in a particular region. It doesn't mean that those regions will not be affected or disaster won't come. Disaster will come, but God did promise to give protection around us, a hedge of protection around us as individuals, around our home as the children of the Lord. So thank you guys. God bless.